Welcome to the B2T show, where we empower Christian patriots with truth. This is Rick, your host. Here we are on Tuesday, April 21st. It's good to have you here in the B2T show. What fun that we're going to have with a packed show about the cure cover-up. And just really highlighting the dishonesty and of the MSM, the media that is literally enemy of the people, that want people to die over telling people the truth. It is sad. When we have enemy, when Trump says fake news, boy, he is not underestimating. And saying enemy of the people isn't underestimating. These guys are pure satanic evil that will do the bidding of their pedophile satanic followers. It's just amazing, or masters, I should say. This is a cure cover-up. We're going to be going over that. We're also going to be getting a great update from Merkel in Germany. It's amazing how Gene has got a worldwide network of information coming into him now as he expands. He's going to cover that, and Gene will be digging into that in a lot more detail. So let's get to this, because there's a bunch to go over. I see some awesome people on. Caffeine Addict was here. He says, I'm early. He comes in early almost every time. I love it. Cosensi's here in the house, as you know. Also, we got as a moderator. Really appreciate everybody that joins us here on this channel. We have a lot of information. We're being attacked quite heavily on things that we believe we have tons of evidence for. We'll talk a little bit about that today as well. Amy Mercy is here as a moderator. Lou's here as a moderator. I love it. We got people from Kentucky. Where else are we from? Indiana, South Dakota, Cleveland, Ohio, Canada, Alberta, several places in Canada. Really appreciate it. Minnesota is in the house as well. And there's quite a bit more. Iowa, Georgia. It's just awesome to see you all. Okay, we're going to be getting in to this cover-up right now. This is pretty serious. It just upsets me. This is what started the channel for me, is when I just saw all the fake news Mockingbird media. We can see that from a Q perspective, the last post was still here on the 18th, so we haven't heard from him in like 3 days. But we're hearing from a lot of other people. And so we love B2T here in San Diego, says Isaac Cruz. Thanks so much. You're awesome. So let's look at some of what's happening. Probably the biggest thing that I saw happen was what Trump announced yesterday. He said, in light of attack from invisible enemy, and I love how he uses this invisible enemy, obviously talking about the cabal. So he says, and this is again the tweet at 9 p.m. last night, in light of the attack from the invisible enemy, as well as the need to protect the jobs of our great American citizens, I will be signing an executive order to temporarily suspend immigration into the United States. So in the expected attacks from MSM, we saw it tonight in the coronavirus briefing, or whatever you want to call it. That's really something that's going to be a blessing in disguise, I believe. Even though this has been a horrible thing for the country, a horrible thing for many people who lost their lives, and a horrible thing, obviously, for the people that have lost their jobs, etc. What you see here is everything backfiring on the invisible enemy, the cabal. Everything's backfiring on them. We're going to be talking about the petrodollar a little bit here in a second, and how that's collapsing. And we're going to be talking about how they use this emergency to be able to reverse basically all the money that's going out to the cabal to come into the treasury of the United States. So it's crazy what's happening here. So we'll be digging into that in a second. Hey, couple things wanted to let you know. So I still have this list out here. So if you haven't grabbed yours yet, come and grab it. Join the email list, as well as get the top 60 red pill patriots. And this is the 60 people that I look for when I'm preparing for my show. So I have a full-time job, as you know. I come home, I look at vote.co, look at some Twitter accounts, and look at a bunch of all these red pill patriots who've already funneled up a lot of the anon information. And so it's just an awesome way for me to really continue to keep updated on a regular basis. So if you want that list of top 60, you're going to go to impactculturenow.com. Again, because it'll allow you to impact the culture. If you really follow these guys, you're going to be able to forward things along, memes, all these awesome memes, and forward them along. So you want to come to impactculturenow.com. There's a link down below as well. And get your list of the 60 Red Pill Patriots that I use in preparation for my site. And then obviously we'll give you updates on all this fun stuff that you guys like updated anyway on the DUMBs and info and new health and prophecies, etc., etc. Now, the other thing is where I'm getting a lot of questions on Backstage, so I want to try to answer some of those, especially when people will sign up and they go, now I can't get in. 95% of you, it's working. The 5 to 10% that forget to check the box. And so, unfortunately, the way the laws go, if you decide to join, say, hey, I want to join Rick and Gene Backstage, right? And you say, hey, I want the 45% discount off the monthly. So instead of being $177, I'm going to do this $97 deal. Give me the whole year for around $8 a month. And then you go and you fill out all this information. You hit complete my purchase, but you forgot to check this. It's going to unsubscribe you from all my lists. It's a thing that I'm required to ask every time, even if you're already subscribed. If you don't click that, I can't communicate with you. I can't send you the instructions. I can't send you the notifications about us doing an exclusive offline. So if you want to really have all these benefits that we talk about exclusive content, the actual red-pilled Christian community like Facebook, where it's not censored from a Facebook perspective. You want to join me 5 minutes before to pray for this episode, as well as 5 minutes or 20 minutes, sometimes over an hour with Gene afterwards, which has been a pleasure. And then obviously everything's recorded, so you can see all of this recorded if it's not there, plus the searchy where you can search on any single thing. So anyway, I'm just proud of this. This is a great place for you to come and actually get information consolidated. Instead of sending Gene emails, he's getting over 400 a day sometimes. I'm getting a couple hundred a day. You guys really help if you come to Backstage and ask questions there. We consolidate everything. It works extremely well for a lot of people. So I just want to make sure that we knew to check that box. That's the main thing I wanted to make sure that you knew. You get there by just going to blessed2teach.com, blessed with the number 2, teach.com, and then hit Backstage, right? So again, blessed2teach.com is what you want to go to with the number 2. And that's the administration stuff out of the way, so let's start digging into this stuff. Look at President Trump has temporarily suspended immigration into the United States. And what I love about this is it really has a lot of great patriots voting on which is the most popular items. So it helps people like me to quickly assimilate, and I figure out what I want to talk about based on the great information coming across from things like Twitter and Vote and other items. Here's Donald Trump saying, I've had great ratings my whole life. There's nothing unusual about that for me. The White House news conference ratings are through the roof. Monday Night Football, Bachelor's finale. This is by the at New York Times saying that. But I don't care about that. I care about going around the fake news to the people. And why does he have to do that? I'm going to show you, because these guys are very dishonest, are just complete enemies of the people. So what do? They know this malaria drug with a Z-Pack works extremely well. So they somehow, and I haven't dug into exactly how they did this, but they got some type of study that had some type of bad stuff on it. And look at this. This is the 4 a.m. talking points. We talk about the mainstream media getting 4 a.m. talking points to try to take down this president. And they need to extend the fear and the panic of this situation to kill the economy, to try to see if they can unseat him, most likely with voter fraud through elections through the mail. Now, but look at what they've done. You'll see, just like they talk about, anytime they talk about QAnon, they're going to use the word conspiracy, fringe theory, and it's in every single title, right? Here is the no benefits, more deaths. More deaths, more benefits. And this is the Chicago Tribune, Associated Press. We go to Fox News, no benefit, more deaths. Fox News is controlled opposition, guys. So make sure you understand the Alex Joneses and the Fox Newses are not your friend. Now, there might be some great people at Fox News, don't get me wrong. But just like Lenin says, Vladimir Lenin, the best way to control the competition is to control it ourselves. The best way to control is to actually lead it ourselves. So go look at Vladimir Lenin quotes and you'll see that. The best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. So they pay, the Mossad does, to run Alex Jones's stations. They pay to create the Mockingbird media, so they're double agents in the media, with 4am talking points. And the 4am talking point was here. Make sure you see the study in the title. Make sure you have no benefit in it. More deaths, no benefit. No benefit, more deaths. Look at this. Washington Times. And this is all 2 hours ago. So this is probably happened right after the 4am talking points, most likely. And it, unfortunately, they didn't give us a timestamp on this. Business Insider, no benefit. Here's a Mass Live, no benefit, more deaths. Here's Mercury News. It goes on and on. Look at this. More benefits, no death. More benefits, no death. More benefits, no death. No benefits and more death. No benefits. This is what they do. They lie to you. They literally, what we know will oxygenate the body and will actually eliminate the coronavirus for many people that are in the early stages of it. Now there's different stages that people are in. It works and it's safe. It's worked for 60 years. But it's incredibly inexpensive. The farmer's not going to get rich off of this. So I think there's 1, 2, 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times 8, about 27 articles in this one document. You can go to my notes, blessedtoteach.com with the number 2 and sign up for show notes, and you'll get things like this that you can forward to your friends to show them what Mockingbird Media is really about. And here's a guy that's being interviewed, Dr. Vladimir Zelenko, who's used this drug incredibly successfully. He says it's safer than Tylenol. And one of the most dangerous things he gives out is Motrin. that he has more people sick from Motrin than he does for this drug he uses on a regular basis. Let's listen to part of it.
Hospital in New York. I asked them how they're approaching the critically ill patients. So they told me they were experimenting with hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin. So that's basically the information I had. And I thought to myself, well, I know these drugs. These are very common drugs. Azithromycin is the most common antibiotic used in America. And hydroxychloroquine, maybe it's a little bit more obscure, but I've used it for 16 years with my rheumatological patients for lupus or rheumatoid arthritis, and even sometimes for malaria prophylaxis. So I'm very comfortable with these drugs. Hydroxychloroquine is 60 years old. No matter what the fear-mongering media will tell you, it's probably safer than Tylenol. And the most dangerous drug in my practice is Motrin, believe it or not. I send 12 people a year or so with bleeding ulcers to the hospital.
To bleeding ulcers with Motrin, and this, he's had 16 years he's used hydroxychloroquine. This is a criminal media trying to find a study or do a study or falsify a study. I'm sure we're going to find out something about that. So we'll see as the facts come out here. But to see that something that's been incredibly safe. Dr. Shiva's standing up about this. There's tons of doctors coming out now to show you what's true, but the criminal media is going to lie to you. And here is IET7, Inevitable ET, basically says every time, and he found this article, it says, busted one of the authors of the study saying hydroxychloroquine doesn't work at VA hospitals, got research grant from Gilead, making a competitor drug. And so it says that for hydroxychloroquine plus, and this is the Z-Pack, deaths not substantial enough to rule out other factors. Retweet for truth. So this is another one of those things that we can retweet. And yes, Inevitable ET is one of the guys I tell you to in my list of 60 red-pilled patriots for you to follow. Again, you go to Impact Culture Now to get that list. So get that list and help us get this information out. Here's Bill Mitchell says, look at this. Every article I'm reading today is hating on hydroxychloroquine, an FDA-approved drug. P.S. The FDA also approved this for use to treat COVID-19. But the media claims it is just an anti-malaria drug Trump touts as a cure. The media literally wants people to die. We had the Democrat from Michigan who was thinking she was going to die with many, many days in intensive care. Her husband goes out and gets hydroxychloroquine. She's better in less than 2 days. And now she's going, Trump saved my life because I learned about this by listening to him on the daily briefings. So I'm hoping this is another example we can use to wake up the public about the criminal media, the true enemy of the people. Just frustrating to me. Here's another example of this. This is this Dr. Judy Mokovitz telling her story. If you look at her, she says she's a PhD biomedical research scientist, author of Plague of Corruption, detailing how Anthony Fauci sabotaged her research to cover up the true cause of cancer. And here's just a little clip in there. Let's listen to her.
I refused to denounce the data. I refused to say it was a mistake. We had the data. I showed the data. I showed all of the data. And I just refused. They basically said, tell everybody you made it all up and you can go home. And if you don't, we'll destroy you. And they did. I mean, economically as a profession, but they didn't because thank God for my faith and for my husband and for my family and for the patients, because in order to steal one's passion, my passion wasn't money. Scientists don't make money. My passion was helping people, and the patients never walked away from me.
Wow. See what type of person we're dealing with Anthony Fauci, who works with the Bill Gates of the world to do the bidding of the criminal deep state. It's being exposed. That's why I believe Trump has him out front and center. Listen to him every day so we find the truth. Here's his briefing today. Trump said this: "We continue to gain ground in the war against the unseen enemy, and I see a light at the end of the tunnel. I actually see a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. And we're starting the process. We're starting a very powerful and important process. You see that people are getting very anxious." Deep state getting a little anxious, huh? Gene, go ahead. Oh, somebody on backstage needs to be muted. So please mute if you're backstage. Looks like we got it. So Gene, I thought that was you coming on. You're come on at any time. We're about ready to get into some great Gene update on several things, including Germany and Merkel. Here is a little meme somebody put. So let me get this straight. Trump stops funding the World Health Organization for pandering to China. Then Hollywood monopolizes every network to raise money for the World Health Organization in response. Not to raise money for medical equipment to help Americans struggling financially. Instead, they get the money for the WHO. Pretty good summary of what Hollywood did there, right? They raised millions of dollars for the World Health Organization that basically covered up this thing for China. AG Barr the continual rights do not go away during an emergency. So here's at least a town hall link you can look at where at least William Barr is basically saying whatever powers the government has, whether it be president or the state governor still is bounded by constitutional rights of the individual. Our federal constitutional rights don't go away in an emergency. So that's going to be real interesting to see how we do this. So, wow. Now, I want to bring Gene on a little bit to talk a little bit about just this whole oil market crashing. This is interesting. Here it is. U.S. oil markets crash. Hundreds of U.S. oil companies could go bankrupt. And so I do not think Trump's going to let that happen. But you can see the drop all the way down to negative. People were paying $40 a barrel. This is $37.63, this chart showing, to get rid of the oil in the refineries because it costs more to store it than to just have somebody take it away. That's how it actually became negative for a while. And how that affects the petrodollar is really interesting. So there's some key takeaways on the petrodollar talking here that you'll have this in the notes if you want to get into more detail. But Gene, any thoughts on this petrodollar?
Yeah, so what that means, Rick, is that the petrodollar is what backed up the world banking system. If that's collapsing, that means the world banking system's collapsing. So to me, just like we saw the Fed being rolled into the Treasury, this is saying that they're rolling Jassar out. That's what it indicates to me. I mean, it's a pretty good predictor. I'm not saying it's absolute, but it's a pretty good predictor.
Yeah, it seems like a bunch of things happen in a row here. Like here's an article all the way on 11/4 2010. Refresh it to see if I can get rid of that ad for a second. Look at China-Russia currency agreement further threatens the U.S. dollar. So Russia got on board with the petrodollar, China with the petrodollar, and this petrodollar started really dominating things back all the way in 2010, as you can see. And now all of a sudden it collapses. And here's Bards of War. He says, logical thinking. The petrodollar was designed to fail. T. Matt POTUS has capitalized on the failure to build a parallel sovereign economic system. We are in transition, two economies, one dying and a new one rising. Woo! That is pretty cool, isn't it? If this is part of could this be part of the whole plan? Maybe they knew a lot about this because of Project Looking Glass. Here's Inevitable ET says, DJT, in regards to oil prices, a lot of people got caught. A lot of people got caught. DJT, it was a squeeze. Keck. That's the kind of like the Pepe thing about but how interesting, Gene, that this could actually be part of the whole reset going on, right?
Yeah, pretty exciting.
And look at this. This is somebody, an article. It says the Fed is buying 41 billion of assets daily, and it's not alone. The black horse cometh. The Fed is buying up all this type of stuff, right? And then this is a kind of a little thread of this guy saying, like I've been sharing with you, the U.S. Treasury has been buying up all the debt via the special purpose vehicles through the Federal Reserve, essentially bankrupting the central banks. So all this money used to leak out to them with all the IRS collecting our funds, and we're paying back all this interest, and all they have all these ways to get the money out, which Invenitable ET really talked a lot about. But now it's reversed. They're having to fund the central banks, and they're sucking it right into the Treasury, and then worse, and Trump's sending it to the people. I think it's hilarious to see this happening. So there's good news and all this bad news. What happens to the fiat? Once they switch to the new gold-backed currency, it ceases to be currency. So what happens to our savings in the bank? Not precisely sure on that, but the currency will be backed by gold, right? So we've talked a lot about this. Most likely, new currency transferable is my guess, but I'm no expert. And so I think that's probably what's going to happen. Also, probably IRS taxes goes away, and hopefully debt forgiveness. So this would have to be presumably a worldwide event. How will oil be traded? So a lot of big questions. Oil has to go through a reset as well, which is what I think is currently reflected in the market with oil. So this is real interesting. This is a good time to flip over to free energy if they're going to roll it out. I'm not sure if it's going to be that fast, but that's just one idea. And what happens to the petrodollar? You realize that the global currency standard is the dollar, right? Yes, I do. And that's exactly what I've been talking about. The central bank petrodollar goes away. Financial markets reset. Currency reset. Oil reset. Debt forgiveness. No IRS. Woo, wouldn't that be a beautiful thing? Gene, this is what you've been talking backstage for quite a bit on Gassara and Nasara, right? We've talked a little bit about it on front stage.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's kind of exciting. So now we're into some Germany news, which is kind of interesting. You want to talk a little bit, Gene, and set this up about your worldwide warriors?
This information came from a new people that are getting ready to come online, and some other sources I had in Germany. I have a couple people that are going to be coordinating all my emails from Germany, and they're going to do their own YouTube as well. And so we're going to share news around the world. So I have people getting ready to come on in Indonesia, the UK, Sweden, Switzerland, Norway, Czech Republic, Croatia, Brazil, which will take care of all of South America. And that person speaks Portuguese and Spanish, so they'll also coordinate Spain and Portugal until it gets too many emails. And a lot of these people are going to be sending me news, so we'll get news around the world like you used to have in the old days. You had the local news, and then you had the world news. And so I'm looking for Rick to have the same thing. And so this is what we're seeing now. This is what he sent me about. And I've vetted this out, that there's 2 dumps being taken out here, and most of those earthquakes you see in that link right there are dumps being taken out. You see one under the Vatican, so that's when they went into the Vatican. They're inventorying all the gold as well as the Spear of Destinies down there, and also the Shroud of Turin is kept there, and hundreds of trillions of dollars in gold, and they have meticulous records. Is the good news that they glory in how they hoodwinked us and robbed us blind, and so to glory in it, they kept meticulous records of how much trillions of dollars in gold they've stolen from every single country, specifically over every single year, as even in well as how much taxes each person on earth has paid, and so it will be repatriated as appropriately.
Wow,
as appropriate.
That's exciting. There is what that is. Really exciting. Little Red, thank you. Appreciate that. And if you look at this, there's also this kind of related satellite thing here. Satellites found secret U.S. military bases, which was kind of related. Does it make sense to go over this at all, Gene, now?
We'll save that for the dumb update.
Okay, great. We'll do that. And one thing we did want to talk to you about, there's been a lot of discussion about this dumb updates that what Gene was just talking about. I'll get to the rest of Germany in a second. But this is we'll put the link in here, the High Command. This is TimothyCharlesHoldsmith.com. He's been attacked and vilified, and actually Phil McConnell was reporting on him, and we believe Phil was set up and is now in jail because basically he was over the target in talking about this. And he's got a link here and some pretty ugly stuff about the whole way kids are being tortured. And he's basically verifying everything Gene and I told you, and I'm not gonna play it here because you guys will have the link. But a lot of verification here. Since he's been completely attacked via mainstream media, it's hard to know how verified some of his stuff is. But he goes over some things that are just horrible in here, by the way, about what they mean by panda and how the torture of some of these kids, etc., and what he's actually finding out and getting verified from his sources. So if his sources are correct, there's definitely kids rescued in multiple places, including some in Missouri they were talking about, right? We'll play, that's kind of a different video I have teed up here as well. But let's move on to this. Here's USA Field Station in Angisburg. What's this? What's this, Gene? Gene, are you on mute? We got the United States Security Agency Field Station in Angisburg.
That's a HARP technology. It's much more organized because it's in a circle, not like the one in Alaska that is now under white hat control. This one is a HARP type facility in Germany, and so what that does is the same thing that our HARP does, with not needing as much power.
Wow. And here's a whole article. The dark days. I've got these two mixed up. Sorry for the bad ordering I had here. Gene, I'll finish up your Germany stuff before I go back to that. So I guess this was another video, Gene, here, and then we had an article. Angela.
Yeah, so that article is a petition that was taken up, and then that induced, based on what my sources in Germany are saying, that she's been arrested now.
Wow. Not a German chancellor. She's a deep state marionette and should disappear. And that was April 15th. Interesting. And then this is a video, a 47-second video.
You can watch that. It's great. Go ahead and do there's people from Germany may be watching, so go ahead and do the volume.
Okay, sounds good. This will be in German, just FYI. But I gotta take the volume out.
Dabei wurde auf der Baustelle am Berliner Stadtschloss ist am Mittwoch ein Feuer ausgebrochen. Dabei wurde ein Bauarbeiter.
We aren't hearing anything.
Der Sprecher der Feuerwehr teilte mit, dass 2 Bitumenkocher gebrannt hätten.
No
Bitumen
sound,
wird
Rick.
dazu benutzt, um Asphalt herzustellen.
We got sound,
Eine
guys.
Person
Remember,
ist
backstage
leider
won't
leicht
have it.
verletzt worden. Sie ist jetzt mit dem Rettungsdienst ins Krankenhaus gekommen. Der Brand selbst wurde von uns sehr schnell gelöscht. Wir waren hier insgesamt mit 80 Einsatzkräften vor Ort, fahren jetzt den Einsatz langsam wieder runter. Die Einsatzstelle ist auch alles unter Kontrolle. Wir werden jetzt noch Belüftungsmaßnahmen und Kontrollmaßnahmen hier vor Ort durchführen und dann die Einsatzstelle zur Ermittlung der Brandursache an die Polizei übergeben.
In dem Gebäude auf der Museumsinsel entsteht derzeit unter anderem das Humboldt-Forum. Der erste Teil des Museums soll im September eröffnet werden.
So that was all in German. All the people on Facebook, I mean, all the people in on YouTube could hear that. And so, what was the summary of that?
Thing, Rick?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, what you saw there is the smoke coming out from the basement. It's coming up from the dome that they burned out underneath that museum. They like to have domes in museums because they can take artifacts they don't want us to have down there and hoard it for themselves.
Nice. So domes underneath museums. It's one of the many ways they do this.
Yep, Smithsonian has one on them. The Louvre has one under it. So a lot of these have these domes, and that's why you can see the smoke coming out from the lower windows, the basement windows.
Wow. So I love how you just took a German update of these four things, and then all links back to what's happening with the domes, and just really this whole deep state war. Thank you, Gene. This is really interesting to see what's really happening worldwide here.
Yeah, it's awesome, and this is thanks to my new people that are coming online to coordinate all my emails to Germany, and they're going to start their own YouTube there. Another person will be doing that in Indonesia, another person in UK, another person in Iceland and Czech Republic and Croatia and Spain and Italy and France and Australia is already running, and then Brazil, and that person will coordinate all of South America and Portugal and Spain.
That's great. That's awesome. All right, and then we have another. See if I've got this right. This is another YouTube channel that's reported on something that Gene and I have been talking about. It's called The Dark Days of April 19th, May 1st. This is the Life of Truth YouTube. So he's a regular listener here. Been listening to me since I guess we had 2,000 subscribers way back when, probably back in February of 2018. But interesting. He talks a little bit about what's going on here. I think around 9:15 or so, and he's talking about. He does some other things. Gene, you want to upset what he talks about earlier about the whole satanic calendar and holidays, etc.
Absolutely, Rick. So he is an amazing decoder. I would highly recommend everybody go watch the decode. He goes through the gematria. He goes through the importance of April 19th and 20th, which is Walpurgis Day. It's the beginning of the highest part of the satanic sacrifice calendar. And you can see the list of events that have happened on April 19th or April 20th, in which they do massive sacrifices all over. For hundreds of years, they've been doing this. And then that continues all the way through and that's why he calls this the dark days of April, from April 19th to May 1st. April 30th through May 1st is the highest satanic holiday of the year. It's called Beltane. And then they do massive blood sacrifices and some pretty disgusting other things.
Yeah, just crazy and sad is what it is. But you can see he's really unleashing what's happened and why part of the reasons why the White Hats might have gone in to help the children from April 19th to May 1st. This gets a pretty detailed report. It's I'll warn you, it's graphic, so children might not want to hear this, or if you don't want to hear stuff that's really going on that's ugly, you may want to turn this off. Let's listen to him for a little bit, starting here.
His friends, which is very high up special forces, who leads soldiers.
And I'm sorry, I wanted to back up a little bit. Those of you backstage, remember, Zoom doesn't work well with the YouTube audio, so that's why a lot of people will come before and afterwards, but then they'll watch, if they want to hear the sound, watch it on YouTube, at least these parts, okay?
They're on the task of finding the children. And what has happened is, I believe they went in there right before this could all happen, and they dismantled a military base. If you want to know more about that, Blessed to Teach, him and Gene, God bless this man Gene, he has gone over every single military base. I watched it from today. They didn't go over the one that my great friend told me about, where they rescued 6,500 children. But that was a very special secret mission. They didn't even go over the military base that was down there. This was more of a tunnel system, satanic stronghold. It was guarded by demons. And they would shoot, the demons would turn into puffs of smoke. And it struck fear into the heart of these soldiers. They're the most hardened soldiers. They go into all the missions. They're the one arresting all the global bankers. They're the ones going into all the major trafficking rings for drugs, humans, and they're really big into the banking cartels. They arrest a lot of the high up bankers that are corrupt politicians, corrupt people in the banking industry. Well, these people, the closer they got to these tunnels, the more fear was struck in the heart of them. And there were two demons. They said that they didn't know what they were, but they would shoot at them and they would turn into a puff of smoke. Well, they were so fearful, they couldn't go past this door that they were guarding because these demons were planting it in their mind. If you come any closer, you're never going to be able to leave this place. They thought it was hell where they were going into, but they said that this stronghold had gotten so big that the demons were literally manifesting.
Wow, so just a great description here of what a good friend of his, who has a good friend in these fighting down in the dumps. Okay, so this is secondhand information. We admitted that right here, but here is a report giving details on exactly what's happening. So again, demons scaring the soldiers and messing with their minds so where they can't get through here. So this dome was guarded by demons, according to Life of Truth here. But let's continue with the story.
Natural. I mean, they said they've never seen anything like that. And these people, they don't talk like this at all. And you could tell by the weight of what he was talking about that it was really affecting him. They leave. They call my friend, my great friend who is known, this commander of special forces, calls my good friend for prayer, and he leads them in prayer. Well, 700 men left. They called my friend prayed, and then they went back later on that evening with 2,000 soldiers. Well, they broke.
So think it, they're scared. 700 soldiers can't breach this. They come back. Some get prayer. They go back with 2,000 soldiers
through this door. And in this door, they said the stench, it just knocked them in the face. Like they couldn't, it was just horrible, the smell down there and the air quality. They had to wear masks. But the more they went down there were more of these things down there, these demon entity things that were just instilling fear into these soldiers. So much so that they would defecate themselves and they would puke. I mean, these are the top soldiers. They deal with all of the worst possible situations. And even they couldn't hold it together. They were puking. They were pooping on themselves. It was just a terrible situation. Well, they get deeper in. They could finally get in there. They got past the fear part. I mean, really, when they didn't know what they were going to walk into. Well, they...
Okay, this is where the warning is. The next minute of this is very graphic.
Come into this room. And in this room is stacked on top of each other 500... to 1,000 children just dead, stacked up. They'd already been sacrificed. I mean, they were losing it at that point because of the stench, the rotting flesh, rats and things like that, the feces down there. There was another room they broke. This is a huge tunnel system. So their plan was to go in there, extract whoever was in there, and blow it up with nukes. So the plan was to go in there and grab these kids. Well, they didn't know that there were 6,500 malnourished kids. And there were 3 different rooms. One room was where they were holding them like a holding tank. And then there was another room where they would force the kids in there to go have orgies. And then another room where they would do the sacrifices. And then another room was where they held this adrenochrome. There were freezers full of this stuff where they were harvesting this drug from these kids, from their blood. So they gathered all the kids up, they gathered all the adrenochrome up, and then they blew up the tunnel. Well, they were freaking out because they didn't know what to do with all these kids. Now, if you go into Blessed to Teach's channel, I'll leave a link in the description. I have to. He goes over in detail. He just did the 6-part series today on these tunnel systems that are, I mean, they nail it down to the geographical location of each of these and explain what each facility is used for. It's amazing. They didn't mention this one. It was in Missouri, and it was in the heart of America. And it was just absolutely insane. And I've never heard my friend talk of these things. He said that he's never heard his friend, who he's known him for 10 years, talk about any of this kind of stuff. So it was very shocking. And my friend had just found out about this whole adrenochrome thing from my channel because I had started exposing it, and I was looking to get his feedback on it because I hold him very dear to my heart and his opinion matters to me. So I sent him my videos, and it blew him away. He didn't know that all that kind of stuff was going on. Well, then he calls me 2 weeks later and tells me all this. So the children are definitely being saved. So just so you know, children are being saved, and God is on the move right now. The only reason I felt released to even share what I just shared with you is because of Blessed to Teach Rick and Gene's video where they're decoding all this. So I felt like it would be okay to share it. I was told not to, so hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me. With all of it coming out anyways, I didn't say any names, so technically I could just be classified as some crazy guy, but whatever. I know it's real. There's plenty of reports coming out of it being real, so there you go, guys.
Okay, so follow this guy. Get him some follows and likes. Life of Truth, obviously doing a great job. Thank you, Life of Truth, if you're doing this. And so Lou's saying that Trump called Pelosi dumb. And so do you think that was code for this? So I'm not sure. I do remember seeing something about him saying her calling, and in a tweet, I think, calling Pelosi dumb, D-U-M-B, right? So Gene, any thoughts on that? So he went through everything, and it basically said this is real. Children are being saved, and this is a group of tunnels that weren't even classified as a dumb, I guess. Is that right?
This is actually, they don't classify as a dumb. If you look on my map, I covered the tunnels. You see a big, huge hub in Missouri, which looks like a starfish with all the amount of tunnels coming out. It's that hub where the maglev trains switch which way they're going. It's in the kind of the eastern central part, southern eastern central part of Missouri, and that's that area there.
Wow. Yeah, and if you look at that, you listen to the Timothy Holdsmith video, and he's talking about there's generations of kids down here, just like Gene said. So this is not just Gene, and Gene's not the original source. This source was a friend of a friend that literally was down there, and then the source of then several sources of Timothy Holdsmith, and then we have Gene all coordinating with their sources, all telling us the same thing. So it's getting real, I guess we should say. So we got somebody, some noise in the backstage. So please mute if you're not on. So let's look at this thing. We got USAA. So now wins of the day. I was just gonna go over some wins of the day. This is kind of a summary of things. I like this guy. For some reason, it doesn't show me his name. It just shows a number here for his for who the anon is here. But he pulls together these wins of the day. So Trump to stop all immigration. The second one, I'm not sure if it's a win, but Kim Jong-un missing from public life. Rumors of very ill health rampant. Here you got number 3. AOC deletes a tweet saying, "You love to see this," about the decimation of the U.S. oil industry. I don't know if you saw that, but it's like, are you kidding me? She says, "You love it to see it." They also deletes a tweet, so it was right here. So it's not smart to delete a tweet nowadays because, as you know, this is on SarahCarter.com by SarahACarter.com. She's got a great site, does a great job, obviously, with the whole FISA-gate. But there it is. Now is the time to create millions of good jobs building out the infrastructure and clean energy necessary to save our planet for future generations. For our economy, our planet, and our future, we need a Green New Deal. So basically celebrating what's going on here as some type of good thing, right? So oh darn it, looks like I accidentally just closed the 10 things, but it's pretty easy to find. You go to vote.com, vote.co, and you can see this is where I find a lot of these type of things, and usually you'll find the today's. You can roll down here and hit on the wins, say like wins. There it is, the wins of the day. And I usually hit the comment section so I can see the comments too, because it's fun to see the comments. Thank you, Patriot. Your posts are appreciated. Thanks, Wins Anon. Wins Anon, you are the best. So that was the first 3 that we had here. Then you saw number 4 is after 24 days, CNN has finally published one story mentioning the allegations of Biden's sexual assault. But CNN had published 700 articles on the allegations of Kavanaugh's sexual assault. Enemy of the people. That's what you have there. Enemy of the people. CNN. Meanwhile, D.C. police is actively investigating sexual assault allegations against Joe Biden. Ever the businessman, Trump takes advantage of the historically low oil prices to bolster U.S. strategic reserve holdings. Trump ad destroys Pelosi with a new ad. Nancy Antoinette. Let's watch this. Minute and 15-second ad.
Fund to help small turn out of that $350 billion fund to help small businesses and its workers get through the shutdown.
It will be up to Congress to restock it.
But Democrats blocking that move this morning.
They asked for $250 billion in 48 hours. I said, well, I don't think so. They objected, and I congratulate the Senate Democrats.
Speaker Pelosi, what are you going to share with us from your home?
Chocolate candy.
Thousands have been forced to wait for hours at food banks all across the country.
This is chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. We just got it restocked with the ice cream.
You don't want to eat up everything all at one time.
I can't do it much longer. I'm trying so hard.
We were, shall we say, enjoying.
Having to admit that, yeah, we're starving, and
I like it better than anything else.
Taping this segment, there are 22 million people out of work.
This specific program is about stopping job losses today.
This is hurting people bad.
Other people in our family look for some other flavors, but
right now it's survival move. You don't know where that next something else is going to come from.
I don't know what I would have done if ice cream were not invented. I just wonder.
She doesn't know what she would have done if ice cream wasn't invented, as she has a $24,000 freezer as her people in her district starve. Kind of wild. So that's Trump really doing a great job on that. Let's see, that went all the way to the end. Gene, did you have something?
Yeah, ice cream is going to the FBI site. Ice cream is a code word in pedophilia.
Wow, I hadn't even thought about that. So I'm not sure how I lost my... It looks like it's not doing a good job of me being able to go back and forth if I go to the actual article. But you can see this is just a great way. You guys will see the link. You can go to vote.co as well. You might want to set up an account there to be able to follow some people like these anons. Meanwhile, D.C. police are actively investigating Joe Biden. We saw that. We saw the Pelosi ad. Here's U.S. deaths from COVID-19 dropped to the lowest level in 2 weeks. Recalling VP Biden's empathetic declaration of 2011 that helps fuel the world's prosperity. Here's de Blasio plans the largest ticker tape parade of a time as the first thing when lockdowns ends. Here's CNN's Chris Cuomo caught making a big show of pretending he was observing the long quarantine in his basement. When people caught him, a 65-year-old man caught him out when he was supposed to be quarantined, out and about looking at properties to buy. It turns out Bloomberg spent $1.2 billion on his short, embarrassing campaign. $1.2 billion Bloomberg spent to basically slam Trump and use that money to slam Trump that whole time. How interesting! So those are the wins of the day that we get there. Here's the sponsor that's been awesome. That they're Noble Gold. They have IRAs. They have silver as well as gold, as well as 401ks. So again, in 6 months' times or a year or however long it takes to sort out the stock market and the virus situation, where will you be? Financially, you will be in the same place, or will you be worse off, or will you be better off? If you're losing money in the stock market right now and your retirement fund is taking a hammering, you'll need to do something different quick. You don't have to be a victim of the markets. By using some precious metals to back up your investments, you can give yourself a safety net to protect you and your family from financial disaster. You can put these into your IRA or 401k rollover and get a tax break on them to boost your returns even further. Noble Gold has helped hundreds of clients to do this, and the reviews on consumer sites show how happy folks are with the results. Join them. Talk to Noble Gold Specials today. You can see 877-646-5347 on the screen here. Those of you on the podcast, again, 877-646-5347. Also a link at the bottom. One of my best sponsors every single month. Thank you guys for your support of them. Comrade de Blasio snitch line inundated with pictures of bad pictures, Hitler memes, and people flipping him the bird. So that's what you get when you actually encourage basically 1984 snitches. And there's a picture of de Blasio with a Hitler mustache. So they're just posting them on this snitch board, right? So quite funny how that's backfired on them pretty bad. With that, I was going to go into a Mark Taylor prophecy. I haven't been able to do that. We've had so much news, I haven't been able to get anything. But first I want to say, Gene, is there anything else you wanted to cover before I moved into that?
No, go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the... and Gene's got another decode coming on the international. As you know, we got through part 6 on the decode on the DUMBs, the Underground War update. So that should be coming soon. Probably 2 or 3 more episodes, a couple on the international, and then also on the technology, all of those bores and the things that, the patents that they have to actually dig these tunnels. How do they do all that? Well, we're going to talk about those in the next 3 episodes, probably, or 3 more episodes of the Underground War details. So that's been a popular series. Really appreciate your work on that, Gene.
Oh, you're so welcome, Rick. Thank you for having me on so I can get that information and wake up the world. The whole world's awake to it now. I'm getting emails from all over the world.
Yeah, so it's going to be amazing. So we want to say also thank you for Gene, the donations for Gene's computers. So he's going to have a setup with a laptop as well as a desktop, and just to be able to really be much more efficient. And he's going to be coordinating now instead of him trying to do everything himself, which we just talked about, with an army of volunteers. So if you have great medical experience as well as are very red-pilled in a certain country or a certain area of the world, let us know via email, and we'll try to plug you into this army of researchers that will basically...
And then also now that... sorry, Rick.
Go ahead.
Now, when you email me now, you have to put in the subject line first thing where you're at. So if you're from Michigan, for example, put Michigan. If you're in Canada, put the province, and then Canada. If you're from a foreign country, put the name of the foreign country, because coordinators, I'm training them exactly how to do all the emails, and they'll CC me on everything. I'll see everything they answer. So if there's more information needed, then I'll reply. But they'll be trained to give all the information that I already give.
Right. I'm also looking for a few volunteers to help with just going through the comments of both the YouTube channels and Facebook. I just can't get to them anymore. And so I'm really having to focus on the emails and Backstage. And as you know, Gene's focusing on Backstage as well, and his emails, and as we're coordinating people and helping them through everything. Thank you, Patriot Scuttlebutt. Appreciate it. Gene, did you make the big one in 82? I'm not sure what that meant. Do you know? Did you make the...
No, I don't know what that one means, but yeah, Lou, I have that Law Dog. I mean, I have that one on my list. I'm keeping an eye to see if I can vet that one out. And yeah, I'm only 400 emails behind right now.
Yeah. So that's one reason why we're having and so I do need some volunteers that I can give administrative rights to basically help me answer people's questions and let me know when there's something important for me to get to, because I'm missing that right now. And so I'm keeping up pretty well with my Twitter, keeping up with my emails. But boy, I had to work like 6 hours this weekend just on emails, right? And Gene's probably worked a lot more than that. And then obviously Backstage is where we're really focusing a lot of our time. So join us right here. Again, go to blessedteacher.com, blessed with the number 2teach.com. There's where you get Backstage. You're going to go to Impact Culture Now to get the 60 red-pilled patriots. Again, that would be, there's a link down below as well on both of these things. So you can find it really easy, the Backstage as well as the list. Get my list of the top 60 red-pilled Christian patriots. And we're going to be reworking the website. We're going to be updating the website here over the next few weeks. So come and visit there. Get on the email list, and we will be doing quite a few fun things here to expand this to be a much more usable site for you guys. But we're really looking forward to that. Let me get to a prophecy by Mr. Mark Taylor. We have not done this in a while, so let's do that. Looks like I had it set up, but let me go to the prophecy, and there it is. Mark Taylor. Time is up. So this was what he wrote all the way back in 2015. This is why everything I have studied on Mark just seems to be prophecies coming true. Everything he documented, that's what I really look at him. So here's something that he said back in 2015 when Obama was the president. Said, the Spirit of God says, I am neutering the sitting president. So he's talking about Obama. Right? I'm neutering the sitting president. I'm neutering the sitting president in this hour. So his evil and corrupt ideologies and theologies can no longer reproduce in this country I call my United States of America. For this man who holds the title called the President of the United States will begin to lose his grip from it and be stripped of it, for the Lord God will rip it from him. This man who calls him Commander-in-Chief is nothing more than a lying, deceitful thief. The Spirit of God says, time is up for those who are corrupt. For shall begin to remove those who stand for evil in leadership and stand in the way of my agenda. Judges, senators, congressmen, and women of all kinds, even in the local, state, and federal lines. Even the Supreme Court is not immune from their corrupt and evil ways. For I will remove some and expose their backdoor deals, which have been at play. For my America has been chosen as the launching platform for my harvest, and she will be a light unto the world once again, as I clean up that which is the darkest. Fear not, America. Your greatest days are ahead of you. Arise, my army, and fight and watch what I will do for you. And this is a real short couple paragraphs one, but this is important. I think this really is applicable right now. Obviously, he wrote this in 2015. And so 4.5 years later, here we are, right, after Trump's been elected. And I think right now, this is the message, is fear not. Because time is up for those who are corrupt. And these congressmen and judges are going to be hitting public justice, I think, for one of the first times, right? I think we've seen a lot of the private justice, but now we're going to see the public justice. I'm so excited about that. Lou saying when Fossey said in 2015 that the next president would face a pandemic, globalists were hoping it would be HRC. We'd be dead now. It's like we'd all be in FEMA camps or dead, one of the two, right? Because what an amazing time where the remnant. I don't underestimate you as being a red-pilled Christian patriot. The remnant, the army of God, coming together and praying, because that is what we need to do in faith. That our best days are ahead of us, and the cabal is going to be judged. That's what we need to be thinking in our mind, is when you unite on prayer. So help us out there. Let's not think that this entire plan that was so brilliant and the Q team and all these huge patriots coming together with this plan to counteract the great satanic plan. Do you really think they would have forgotten about FEMA? Do you really think they wouldn't have known and thought and counteracted 5G? Do you really think they're that stupid? So if you believe in QAnon and believe in this patriot movement and see God's hand of judgment coming down on them, on the systems, and see him blessing us as the people, I mean, how can you believe that Trump would be overruled and didn't think and they didn't think about FEMA and they didn't think about counteracting 5G? Come on, use logic and faith. There's tons of videos out there that's creating fear. This is not the time to let that get you. Don't forward those videos, please. Be careful who you follow. Let's unite in faith. All right, pray with me. Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for, I'm going to go over the verse first. This is Matthew 5:16. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. That's Matthew 5:16. Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for Matthew 5:16 and all your word of God. And you can tell us that you are a refuge. We do not need to be in fear. We do not need to be dismayed or discouraged. We can have the peace that transcends all understanding by just bringing our request to you with thanksgiving. Lord, so I pray that we will unite in faith. Lord, that everybody that's listening to my voice will unite in faith, will lift up to you in faith, in the repentance of our nation, in repentance of our personal sins, and ask that you heal our land, Lord. That's what we're asking. You heal our land. Just as Mark Taylor's talking about here, Lord, that time is up for those who are corrupt, that justice will fall, and that you will replace it with righteousness, Lord. And we want to submit our lives to you. Allow us to know how you want us to use us in this battle. And we say these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Thank you guys for joining me here on April 21st. We had talking about the cure cover-up and the evil of the MSM, getting into Merkel and Germany update and a lot of other updates about the children and what's happening there. We'll have more to come on that, so stay tuned. God bless you guys, and we'll talk to you next time. You've just listened to the Blessed Teach Show. You're now empowered with the truth. Don't miss the edited short B2T clips on a new channel called B2T Clips. A big thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and PayPal. You are truly appreciated. For the links to these sites, as well as links for show notes, Backstage with Blessed Teach, training courses, and more, visit blessedtoteach.com. That's blessed with the number 2, teach.com. God bless, and be sure to go empower others with the truth.